Hey folks, here we are again. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be starting the episode soon, but we find ourselves again beginning a show in the face of tragedy. We have a very positive show coming your way. I'm actually doing this after we've recorded the show. We're going to be talking about Black Panther. It's very positive and what this movie has become and everything. But as you all know, earlier in this week, 17 more lives were lost to violence. Were lost to gun violence. 17 lives that didn't need to be lost have been lost. And we've addressed things like this on the show in the past. For those of you who've been listening to us for a while, you kind of know where Drew and I stand on issues like this. So the best thing that we can think to do right now is before we start the show, we're going to observe a moment of silence for the victims. As much as faith is important to my life and prayer is important to my life, I'm also of the opinion that just saying thoughts and prayers is shallow and has lost its meaning. So we're just going to observe this moment of silence for those victims. Take a moment when you can out of the day. Just someone's important to you, give them a hug, tell them you love them. Do something to make someone else's life better every day, because there's 17 families out there that are forever changed that don't have the opportunity to do that for their loved ones anymore. So, brief moment of silence, and then we're going to get started with the show. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, all rise. Court is back in session. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Devil's Due. I am your host, Carl Duty. With me, as always, is a man who some people call him Space Cowboy, Mr. Drew Celestino.
No one calls me that.
Well, I've heard in certain circles you're known as the Space Cowboy.
Wow. I mean, I like space, but cowboys, know.
The right kind of cowboys. Space cowboys. Are you Han Solo's space cowboy?
He's a space pirate.
Pirate cowboy. One's on land, one's on sea. Han Solo's in space.
Huh.
Throwing out a lot of concepts here at you early.
I'm off guard. What's going on?
How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. I'm very I'm spread very thin, and it's only getting thinner. So stress levels are high, but that's okay.
Well, I mean, that leads us right into our opening statements, which should be interesting. How was your week?
It's been fine. There's just a lot going on, and it doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon, so that's okay. It's been good. Let's see here. I'm struggling, actually, to recap what happened last week, but the weekend was fairly busy, so we're doing more and more. Well, I did relay on the show that we decided to not go through with the kitchen situation.
Yes.
So instead of doing that, we are going to redo the floors, but that in itself, leads me into carpeting stores, tiling stores, etc. and that was an afternoon on Saturday. And which, you know, you can go to these places with the wife.
Yep.
But it's stressful because you might not see eye to eye on things.
You guys didn't talk about what you want going into it?
You think you know. Then you get in the store, and then, you know, things change. So it can get a little stressful, but we did okay. Wheels are in motion, but said wheels being in motion means that we have a lot of work to do to prep for flooring, which means moving a lot of stuff around and slicing up carpet and finding places to put heavy things while they put flooring in. So it's going to be a good time. And by a good time, I mean not at all. So anyway.
Sarcasm.
Yeah, you know, it's something I'm fairly good at, I think, anyway.
Yes.
Saturday night, I know I did something, and for some reason, I know
you didn't do game night Friday.
We did not do game night Friday, because of the week previous. So, there we go. Now it's flooding back to me a bit. We did not record last Wednesday because it was Valentine's Day, number one. Number two, because I attended the Machine Head concert at the Town Ballroom. Jen came along with me, which was awesome. It was a fantastic show, as they are wont to put on. So that was pretty dope. Had a great time. Machine Head's awesome. As I've said before, they are one of the most underappreciated metal bands in the last 20 years in the United States anyway. Bigger in Europe. Ironic since they're from California, but whatever. So that was our Wednesday, you know, reason for not recording the show. Thursday we had Black Panther.
This show?
This show, that's correct.
We recorded on Tuesday, sir.
We did, but we didn't get... It's complicated. I'm breaking down why things...
Me.
I'm breaking down why things are the way they are and why I'm all out of sorts. So Thursday we had Black Panther. It's another evening out that we had there. Friday we did not do game night. I'm trying to recall what the heck I did. I am struggling, but I know
you had a happy hour.
I know I stayed in. That's correct. Oh, that's right. Now it's coming back to me. I did have a happy hour.
Or at least you told us you had a happy hour. You're saying you stayed in.
I did stay in. I had a happy hour. Our favorite bartender at 12 Gates, unfortunately, has left 12 Gates. So we rolled a tear because, you know, Corey was pretty awesome, and we will miss her because she was fun, and we had a good time at lunch. And she will no longer be there, but that's okay. So we had a little happy hour to say goodbye. And I kind of just, after I got home from that, parked on the couch and just kind of hung in for the evening. So I'm looking at Saturday. I'm not coming up with anything. I know something happened that night. Oh, God. I'm an idiot. I made sauce.
Sauce.
And we had some friends over for games and for sauce. So big... It's always an ordeal, but a welcome ordeal when I make sauce. So, you know, it takes time, and I'm passionate as a Italian-American male. So it's you cook from the heart and whatnot, so it was a good time.
So we didn't have our game night.
Yes.
Like, you know, our regular game night with myself and Al. And
correct.
Spoilers, folks, is on the show, but we'll bring them on in a bit. But then Saturday night you had a game night with other people.
That's correct. It's a monthly thing. Ours is weekly. You can go without for a week, sir.
It felt empty.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go on with your sauce.
Yeah. Sauce was good. Should have had some. Oh, man. The look I got. Fantastic. Sunday, Bloody Sunday. Mostly housework and whatnot. Again, getting things kind of figured out for this imminent flooring project. But then I had a jam with another guitar player from another band who is doing this kind of local compilation record. So he's doing collaborations with different people in the scene, and we're all co-writing songs together. So he had me over, and we basically came up with a whole song in about 3 to 4 hours. So, kind of cool. Kind of a fun little thing I'm doing on the side here. And good thing, too, because the day before, also on Saturday, at said Machine Head show, our new drummer, he tore a ligament in his foot, and he will not be able to perform at our show on March 10th. So he will be in a walking boot for about 5 weeks. So we are derailed a little bit. So we have our good friend Zach coming back in to help us out so we can actually play that show. So dates won't be canceled, but my band scheduling is really screwed up right now, and I'm trying not to let it bother me, but it was real stressful for a few minutes there. So we've kind of ironed out our plans for the next little while.
Did he tear in a stupid way, or just kind of accidents happen?
He was in the mosh pit and someone hit him the wrong way, and the mosh pit happened. You know what you're doing when you go in there, but you never know what someone else is going to do in there. So you just got to watch out for yourself. Unfortunately, didn't happen. So someone had to take things too far, unfortunately. So it stinks, but here we are. I did, like a good American, work on President's Day. So whatever. Last night, though, and that kind of brings us up to speed and why I'm, like, flying right now. Last night, I was in Rochester for the G3 concert with Def Leppard's Phil Collin, Dream Theater's John Petrucci, and the Lord Thy God, Joe Satriani. It was excellent. Excellent show. Took my father. We had a great time. I've been brought up on Joe Satriani from a very young age of like 7 or 8 when my dad first played me Flying in a Blue Dream. And we've been like, that's like been our thing ever since. So I'm a Satch fan for life. So we had a good time. Anytime it's in the vicinity, we go together. And it was just a fantastic show. And Phil Collin is a better guitar player than I ever thought he would be, being that he's in Def Leppard and like whatever. But he's really, really good. But he was a little out of his league last night when they had to do the big jam at the end. It's like, okay, we're all going to trade off stuff. And it's like, yeah, Phil Collins pretty sweet, but that's sweet. So it was fun, though. John Petrucci is technically amazing and exceptional, and he's also brutally boring. Very clinical. I see what he's doing, and I hear what he's doing, and it's all very correct.
He's very high skill, but his high skill is very paint by numbers.
It's one way to put it. He's a perfectly cromulent guitar player.
Okay.
And that's underselling him maybe, but like it's like, yeah, dude, your technique is flawless, your theory is sound, you're ripping it up, but yet it doesn't feel like anything. And then Satriani comes out and just like takes everyone to school. Like the wizard hat is on, and he's just like, okay, I'm just gonna do my thing here. And it's not even so much of like his speed or whatever. Joe's technique though is just such that he approaches the instrument from such a different angle than these other guys. Joe knows all the technique and he knows all the scales, but the way he applies it is completely oddball. And yet it's always in service to a memorable song. And the other guys were just kind of like, we're playing clinical exercises. This is how you play this part. And Joe's kind of like, yeah, but where's the song? So that's kind of my thing with Satriani for decades. That's how I've thought of him. And I think the work speaks for itself. But seeing it up next to other guys is especially revealing into like the insight of a musician and an artist. Like these guys are doing this. He's doing something else. And anyway, had fun.
Was the rest of Chickenfoot there?
No, because it's a side band.
Just asking.
If that's all you know him from, I
you know
pity
for a fact
you.
that I know him from other stuff.
Okay, all right. Anyway, I digress. Then back to work, and it's been kind of a hellish couple weeks at work. So nothing. Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So here I am,
not
home again. Wife's a little mad. So
a little mad that you're doing the show?
A little mad that I haven't been home in like 4 days. So, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
how's it going?
Going okay.
Yeah.
I had to work on President's Day too. As far as the week goes, kind of going back to, I guess, really starting point was Valentine's Day. Julie and my mother was generous enough to watch William for 2 nights in a row because Valentine's Day was Wednesday. So we went to Papa Grande's on, I guess it would technically be considered Sweet Home or Maple. It's
next to the AMC
it's in that
theater.
plaza. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's next to AMC theater.
Yeah.
Great Mexican food. Loved it. Had a giant burrito with a tequila lime shrimp, and they do not skimp on the shrimp.
Good.
So good food there. And then we went and saw The Post, the Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep, Steven Spielberg directed. Absolutely fantastic. Just eerie in comparison of what the events in that movie that happened contrasted to what's going on in our world today.
Almost like history repeats itself, Carl.
Kind of.
It's kind of funny how that
somebody
works.
should coin that phrase. No, it was excellent. I highly recommend it. It's weird because, like, the movie ends. It's not really a spoiler because it's historically based. The movie ends with the Watergate break-in.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually, like, stop that movie and then start.
All the President's Men?
Yep, right after it.
Nice.
So that we had a fun night there. Then Thursday night, we all saw Black Panther, which we will be discussing in length. Friday, I sat home, just hung out, and kind of did nothing. Thanks, pant load, Chet. Saturday was an X-Wing tournament.
And?
I did 4th place.
Okay.
So
you're moving up in the ranks.
Not great, but not horrible. And over the course of the past week, we had some catching up to do on our road to Infinity War. So, because 2 weeks ago was the Super Bowl on Sunday, so we obviously didn't watch a movie that night.
I was going to ask. I think I forgot last week to ask you how that's going.
And then last week, I can't remember what happened last week, but as of last night, we're only one movie behind now. Over the course of the past week, we did Captain America, the First Avenger, and the first Avengers movie.
Okay.
Captain America, First Avenger, I enjoyed it much more. It's been a while since I've seen it.
It's been a while.
And it's just really great. I may have to bump Captain America up to having the best overall franchise within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Originally, I had Guardians up there.
Wow.
But just, and it's, we've spoken, and obviously we're going to be talking about Black Panther, and a lot of times in the past we've talked about how, like, the score from Marvel films is not very memorable. They don't really, like, pop out at you. The score to Captain America and the First Avenger is fantastic. I forgot how good it was.
Man, so did I.
And it's strange because, like, obviously we're going to be getting into, like, cultural impacts and stuff like that with Black Panther, but, you know, going from watching a movie like The Post to watching Captain America, the First Avenger, you know, a movie like the first Captain America is kind of about America, the idea, whereas, you know, a lot of our things are more historically based or kind of based around America, the execution.
Sure.
The idea of America, the concept of America is amazing. It's revolutionary. How we've gone about executing it over the course of our history, not as great.
Well, those who don't learn from history, something doomed to repeat.
Something,
it's almost
something
like
dark side.
It's almost like that should be a phrase.
Something complete. So yeah, Captain America: First Avengers is great. Then on to
remember
Avengers.
Hugo Weaving?
Oh man, he was so freaking good in that.
Then he got like a chap. Then
Red
he got
Skull was fantastic.
He got all pissy about something, and then he never came back.
I looked up because I remember, like, why didn't he come back? And it turns out, like, he didn't think much of the movie, and he hated doing the makeup. So I'm like, my initial thought was, so you won't do another Marvel film, but you'll do like 18 Transformers movies, which are god awful in comparison. But then I remember he's just doing a voice.
Right. He just gets to show up in his pajamas and
Exactly.
do whatever. Yeah.
So that's frustrating. I know they have a kind of most times have a strict non-recasting policy. I kind of I said most of the time.
Hi, Rhodey.
I mean, Rhodey's the only one they've really, and that was early on.
Yeah.
But I kind of really wish they would get the Red Skull back in there.
Yeah.
Then the first Avengers film. Still all the feels for that movie.
Okay.
Seen it a bunch of times, and it's just still
great.
It's still great. There's not really a complaint I can make about it outside of Cap's suit.
I was just gonna say I'll make one. That'd be Cap's suit. If we could George Lucasify the Avengers by like 3% and just CGI Cap's suit out to fix that up, I'd be happy.
If we can get the tone of the Avengers Cap suit and the physical design of the Cap suit since then,
yes,
put them together,
yes,
perfect,
yes,
because the color tone was just right.
Oh yeah, the colors are good, but that helmet though.
The helmet, just the suit in general, it wasn't great.
Yeah, we could have done better. Hey, you know what I was gonna before I forget, the first Captain America movie.
Yeah,
I know they played it for laughs, but if they would have did the mask correctly, I thought his song and dance suit was pretty banging. It was that's Cap's suit, and Chris Evans fills it out nicely. He could have wore that.
Okay.
I'm a sucker for authenticity.
Yeah. I don't think you could wear it it'd have to look like kind of the chainmail look that's going on.
It wouldn't have to.
Yeah, it would, because then
it wouldn't.
because everything else in that film looks authentic, and then you got that running around. It just wouldn't work.
I have faith. It's Cap. The characters are kind of goofy to begin with. He's bouncing a shield off of things and catching it. Physics don't work that way. I'll buy it. I'll buy the suit.
Okay. And that was pretty much it.
All right.
That completes my week. Dear listener, if you would like to tell us about
listener, that
guy, that girl that's listening to us, I know for a fact we've picked up at least one new listener this week. Another thing I want to mention before we shill the wares. We had a bonus episode this week for those of you who may have caught it. I made an apology on their webpage. I do want to make another apology now. There were some segments that we did at the fighting game tournament that did not make it into an episode. That is 100% my fault. I was handling the recording equipment, and I'm not. Drew showed me what to do. He had to take off early. He showed me how to do everything properly, but I guess somewhere along the line, I accidentally hit a button I shouldn't have, and it didn't record 3 segments properly or at all. So Matthew Hogan, Darian Houston, and Brian Stone, my most heartfelt apologies, good sirs. You had some great segments, but I screwed up, and they didn't get into our bonus episode, so we will find a way to make it up to you someday.
Did you ever see The Super with Joe Pesci?
I know of The Super with Joe Pesci.
Oh, well, it worked before you broke it.
That's fair. Okay, so if you would like to reach out to us, send us any questions, comments, what have you, to be read on the show, you can find us on Twitter at Devils Do Pod. You can go to facebook.com/Devils Do Pod. You can email us at thedevilsdupod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdupodcast.com. That being said, Drew, we do have a question, and I feel it's only fitting that since we're going into the cross-examination, that we bring in, we have a guest in the courtroom today. You know him, you love him, friend of the show, Mr. Alan Waiters is joining us today. How's it going, Alan?
Going pretty good here, guys.
Because you were there with us for Black Panther. I know you've been hyped about this movie forever, so I feel I would be a terrible person if we didn't have you on the show this week. Drew, however, didn't want you on at all. So that being said, going to questions.
This man is a liar, by the
way. So we go. We have only one questions this week from Mr. J.J. Alcimido.
Hey, he's back.
Hi, Jay.
Back.
In J form.
In POG form. Drew and Carl.
Hi.
And we'll shoot this over to Alan, too.
Sure.
If you could create a collection of Funkos from one property that you can own all the characters from, what would it be?
Don't start with me. I got to ponder this.
It's tough because, like, what haven't they made Funkos out of?
Pretty much made it everything so far that I could think of.
Yeah. You know what? No. All right. I got Casablanca. Give me a series of Casablanca Funkos, and they have to be black and white. Don't, like, paint them. Go, just make them black and white. Rick, Elsa, Louis, who else? The leader, the revolutionary leader. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Casablanca. What about you, Alan?
I would say Django Unchained. Have them all.
Have they not made Django Unchained?
I haven't seen any. If there are, listeners, let me know. But I haven't seen any. I think that'd be awesome. Especially have him in the, his purple suit, or not the purple, the blue suit when he,
Yeah, the frillies.
Right.
Yep.
If they have him that, and they have him with a cowboy hat, and then, the shades. And then
I'd be very surprised if there were not Django Unchained Funko Pops, because as I'm thinking of previous Tarantino films, pretty much everyone has Funko Pops for
right.
it. Drew?
Well, thought about it. Given the propensity of Funko Pops in the world today, it's hard to come up with something that has not been done yet. But I think the world is ready, and I think we need them, and we need them to be as accurate as possible. I think we need the Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar Funko Pops.
Wow.
Because who doesn't want Patrick Swayze and Wesley Snipes in drag Funko Pops?
Just a series of Patrick Swayze Funko Pops.
Fine.
Give
me the ghost. Give me the ghost. I'm good.
Give Ghost, like, make it have like a...
I want ghost Funko Pops.
Make it have like a translucent...
Want a Willie Lopez Funko Pop on my desk.
He did, Willie.
Exactly.
Whoopi Goldberg Funko Pop.
Yes. Several. She has several outfits.
Yeah.
We could have her when she's at the bank.
There you go.
Or when she's doing her whole talk to ghost thing in her shop.
You can even make like a deluxe Funko Pop set of the pottery scene.
Sure. Why not?
But no, just like
shirtless Carl.
Just
when he spills the coffee on himself. Not you.
Fine, I'll keep my shirt on. No, just like a series of Patrick Swayze Funko Pops. Ghost, Roadhouse,
sure,
Red Dawn.
Yeah,
keep going.
Dirty Dancing.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're gonna go Swayze, you got to go full Swayze.
Point Break.
Point Break. Little surfboard.
The Chippendale sketch with Chris Farley.
Yes. Oh, shut up and take my money.
Yes.
Funko 2-pack. Shut up and take my money.
I think we have a winner. The Patrick Swayze Funko pack has to happen now. One
Halloween, I'm gonna have the guts to dress up like Chris Farley from that sketch.
I'm waiting. Every Christmas, by the way, you should go out of your way to listen to Mystery Science Theater 3000's Christmas classic, Have a Patrick Swayze Christmas.
Okay. Remind me next Christmas.
I will, though.
Drew.
Uh-huh.
How many more days to Long Beach?
Ooh. I knew he was going to ask, and I'm still unprepared. Let me pull up the calendar, Jay. Well, by my calculations, we have, let's see here. That would be 7. That'd be 14. That'd be 21, 22, 29. We got about 31 days.
Are we going to have to bank a show for that trip?
We might have to bank a show for that trip.
Okay.
We'll figure something out.
All right.
Or I can come at you live from Long Beach.
Yeah, not so much.
Me and Jay could do the show from Long Beach.
I might not. I'm not going to lie.
Wow, you take a backseat pretty quick, don't you?
No, I mean, listen, if you give me a good idea, I'm going to listen to you. Carl, are you trying to grow your mustache to a point where it becomes your clothes so you can cosplay as Bayonetta?
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a disturbing image.
He's got the boots already.
Yeah. No. I think the mustache is kind of...
It's peaked?
I think we're good. Now I'm just kind of maintaining. I'm trimming.
You've got the full,
you got it.
The full Wyatt Earp going right now.
Trim back a little bit at times. I'll tell you what the most frustrating thing about this mustache is. Like with any hair, there's good days and bad days are it's tough to walk out of the house. One side doesn't go as high as the other or whatnot. It's just,
I thought the wax took care of all that.
you'd think. Doesn't always.
You need a little comb.
It's a fine line between the just right amount of wax and too much wax.
I see.
Yeah. So,
Kinky.
although I'm curious to see what the mustache would look like if I went Super Saiyan.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It'd be like Wario's. It'd be all squiggly and electrified.
It'd be weird because I was, I watched DBZ when I was a kid. I was wondering, what would Nappa look like?
Yeah.
If
Just
he
his
turned Super
goatee
Saiyan.
Super Saiyan. I guess I haven't finished the story mode in DBZ Fighters, but I guess there's a scene where Goten's is talking Nappa and be like, "You can't go Super Saiyan."
Oh yeah.
He's like, "How do you do it?" He's like, "You just do. You just go Super Saiyan." So, all right. That brings the cross-examination to a close. Jay, thank you very much. On to the case files. And we got some news to go over this week. I want to start with one thing that brought a bunch of warm fuzzies to all our hearts. That was, we got the first teaser for Incredibles 2 this week.
Yes.
I still have not watched this, actually.
Oh.
Like the first Incredibles movie? Or?
The teaser.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, you guys can discuss. I've been swamped, and I knew it was out there, and I completely have not been able to find it or watch it. And I forgot about it until you just said it.
All right. Well,
I watched it.
I watched it too, and it's sure. Well, let's go. It's Incredibles.
It's gonna sell.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously it's Pixar, but it's baffled me that it's taken them this long to get around to a sequel.
Yeah, it's been 14 years, I think.
We've gotten
2004.
Yeah, we've gotten 2 Toy Story sequels. We've gotten 2 Cars sequels, which I love the first Cars. I had no desire whatsoever to see either of the sequels. That's never happened before. I've never really enjoyed a movie, then seen the preview for a sequel and just be like, nope, I'm good. What else? They've got a couple
Finding Nemo sequel.
Finding Nemo sequel. So, and I'm surprised in the day we live in now with superheroes everywhere that it took them this long to get to a sequel.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, they got everybody back. The original cast is back.
Is Frozone back?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
is Jason Lee back as the villain?
I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't show that.
Yeah, they haven't shown the villain.
Okay. Just curious.
So, how many dump trucks of money do we have to drive up to Brad Bird's house now to get him to direct an actual Fantastic Four movie? Now that, the family's home again.
Ooh.
Well, he's working for Pixar, so they got him in-house, kinda.
Yeah, but he's not a Pixar employee per se.
No, but he's in the family. He's in the...
Yeah.
He's part of the... He's friendly with the mouse.
Yeah.
I
Actually, I would like to see that now.
I say just make him an offer he can't refuse. That's all.
Yeah.
Either you make the Fantastic Four movie, or
he's
else.
one of 2 directors that instantly spring to mind of who I'd like to see do a Marvel Cinematic Universe Fantastic Four movie.
And the other?
Spielberg.
Okay, I thought you were going to say John Waters, but
I mean that's never going to happen. But the all-time dream, the one combination I would take over Brad Bird directing is Steven Spielberg directing a Lawrence Kasdan script.
I wish I could have faith in that, but Spielberg's been letting me down for a while. So,
well,
I know you just saw the post and you got that Spielberg high going, but I saw Crystal Skull. I'm still a little mad. So, you hold
on to anger like no one I've never met before. How long ago was Crystal Skull?
Not long enough.
Even Spielberg said it was bad.
Good.
And yet, guys,
he's right.
No, it is bad, but you keep hearing about freaking
Indy 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
No. You tried to recapture the magic. It didn't work. Move on.
Yep. Let it go. Indiana, let it go.
Take a lesson from Fergie.
Ooh.
Try something different. You realize you screwed up. Apologize. Move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, all right. So that was that. So there's this small movie out called Black Panther.
Little indie
movie,
house art house film.
We're gonna talk about Black Panther. It will be a spoiler review, but we will let you know when the spoilers are going to begin, as we do here on the show.
Sure, we're friendly.
So,
kind of.
Black Panther took in more in its opening weekend than The Last Jedi did.
Yeah.
That's
not by much. It was close.
Well, still.
Yeah.
Just the fact that it overtook it. Like, once you've overtaken it, doesn't matter if it's by $1 or $1,000. You've overtaken it.
Fair enough.
So I'm not sure if this is still true or if it's overtaken Avengers, but second biggest Marvel opening.
Mm-hmm. Well, the opening's over, so if it didn't take it yet, then
then
well,
I didn't see if any stories.
No, I think the second. Yeah, it's second only to Avengers for Marvel openings.
Yeah, but overtaking The Last Jedi in its opening weekend. Now you can go and say like, well, Last Jedi was very divisive and it wasn't the movie a lot of people were expecting. That doesn't factor into opening weekends.
Generally, no,
because there's not a lot of stuff out there like spoiler-wise yet, and so you're going in getting like a fresh experience. I mean, listen, we all expected this movie was going to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I said like last week or the week before that America was not ready for this movie, for what this movie's going to be.
I think we are. I think box office proves we were ready.
Yeah.
We ate it up with a spoon and asked for seconds.
Yeah.
Thirds. So yeah, that
it's got legs. Son.
That's something worth mentioning.
Sure.
So, any thoughts on that, or we'll just get to it?
Maybe we get to it. We'll talk about Black Panther, but I'll say this: surprising yet not, for reasons that we'll discuss in our discussion.
Well, I think it was kind of surprising because, like, how Wonder Woman was surprisingly did well when it first came out. I think people knew it was going to do well, but they didn't think like, whoa, it's did this really well.
Yeah.
Like Marvel's like, yeah, we're swimming in cash here, boys.
I think the surprise factor of Wonder Woman wasn't as much because it's a female-led movie,
right?
But because it was a good DC movie,
right?
Like, I think if I remember correctly, Wonder Woman obviously was number one out of the gate, but picked up steam.
Yeah, later on
as time went on, which is uncharacteristic for a lot of films.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. We will get to that in our review.
All right.
Okay, so getting into some show-relevant stuff. It was announced, I think this past week or the week before, friend of the show, longtime artist, Mr. Ron Garney, will be departing Daredevil with issue 600.
Good night, Sweet Prince.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, but
quite a run.
Yeah, he had a run. Nothing lasts forever.
No.
I mean, it doesn't seem like he's leaving it under bad circumstances or anything. It's like this was my time here. This time is done. I believe Charles Soule is staying.
Soule. Yes, he's sticking around
on the title. But we definitely wish Ron all the best.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to see what he does next.
Absolutely looking forward to it.
I've really enjoyed his art on his Daredevil run. So, that leads us to... I don't know where I want to go next. I got two things here. Both are technically all right.
Just
because we're gonna talk longer about one than we were going. All right. So last week, Drew.
Yeah.
Last week.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about news about Evo announcing their main lineup.
Yes.
Yeah. Marvel versus Capcom Infinite not being included.
Right.
The final nail in that game's coffin dropped this week.
It's not in the Capcom Cup, is it?
It's not in the Capcom Pro Tour.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Capcom made the game.
Hey, man.
The game is 5 months old. And even Capcom is like, you know what?
You got to almost admire their admission, their willingness to admit defeat.
It's very un-Capcom of them to do so.
Maybe they're learning.
Hopefully, but yeah, this game is dead. This game, this This game is dead.
Well, that's okay. They'll make another one. And maybe they'll learn a lesson. Yeah, they will. They'll make another one. If they can crank out Street Fighter games now fairly regularly. Let's put it that way. I don't want to see one every 2 years, but they are iterating them more. Put it this way, after Street Fighter 3 or whatever, it felt like an eternity between 3 and 4.
Surprisingly enough, 8 years.
Really?
Same amount of time.
Felt longer.
Yeah. But, you're telling me. Same amount of time between 3 and 4 as it was between 4 and 5.
That's strange, man.
Yeah.
Well, maybe maybe what it is then is because between
that's a good length of time.
It is. It's a good length of time, and I think between 3 and 4 there was also a drought of other Street Fighter stuff, or at least it felt that way.
Yeah. Fighting games.
Whereas between 4 and
dead.
5, there was a lot, and they supported 4 a lot. And it was fighting games kind of came back.
The fighting game community was still there, but in the mainstream, fighting games were essentially dead, and they weren't attracting new players the way they are now.
So they can make another one, and maybe they'll learn from their mistakes.
Here's hoping.
Or maybe they won't, but maybe they will.
Or maybe Disney goes, Arc Systems seems to know what they're doing. Yeah. Games. Let's let them take a crack at the old Marvel title.
Yeah, maybe.
Sick.
I just have a general question about that and
Sure.
Evo and the whatnot.
Yeah.
Having not really, I'm not super experienced with a lot of the current fighting games, but I know enough, and I'm just curious. Why is it that Injustice is included in these things, and Mortal Kombat proper is not?
Injustice.
It's the same company using roughly the same engine, so I'm curious why they opt for Injustice over Mortal Kombat.
They probably, a lot of things that go into consideration. I mean, obviously Injustice is newer. Injustice
not
probably
newer
has,
than MKX.
Yes.
Oh, so the Injustice 2 or whatever it is.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, fair enough.
It's newer. It probably has a larger player base currently, so they will get more entrants for it. It's probably just garnering more attention than MKX is currently.
Huh. Okay. Just curious.
In a lot of these tournaments, I'll be the first one to admit, even though I stand by Street Fighter in the same way you stand by Nintendo and whatnot. Street Fighter lives and dies nowadays kind of by its pedigree. That's kind of what keeps it as the main event in these tournaments. It's kind of the one started it all. So that's kind of what keeps it as the main event, whereas you can make the argument that there are better fighting games out there.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat doesn't have that tournament pedigree. It wasn't until Mortal Kombat 9 that there were legitimate tournaments bringing Mortal Kombat into it. So NetherRealm, in as far as tournaments in the fighting game community, I mean Mortal Kombat's always been there, but it's never been a tournament quality fighter. Not until they redid everything with 9, and then they did Injustice.
Right.
And then they did 10, and then
Injustice 2.
Injustice 2.
Okay.
So NetherRealm is kind of new to making tournament level fighters. So that's probably why Injustice 2 instead. Mortal Kombat is still going to be there. It's just going to be a side tournament. So it won't have main event coverage.
Okay. Just asking.
Yep. No worries.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah.
Let's get into the hardest matter.
Okay. You don't seem happy.
You know what, Drew? I'm a couple steps away from saying we have 2 dumpster fires going.
Oh, my Lord. What?
We have
what?
We have
what?
The DC film
Yeah.
dumpster fire.
Yeah.
You're not going to agree with me, and that's fine. I'm kind of close to saying we also have Marvel Comics dumpster fire.
Oh.
It was announced earlier this week that yet again, Marvel is going through a line-wide refresh.
Yes.
Not a reboot.
No, they don't
not
do
a
reboots.
relaunch.
No.
Just a refresh. And a couple details to trickle out. One being there will be a new Avengers title.
Yes. Written by Jason Aaron, no less.
Avengers #1. Written by Jason Aaron. Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Drawn by Ed McGuinness. He's not the worst artist in the world, but he's just a little cartoony for
His
me
style
at
is
times.
very cartoony, yeah.
Avengers #1.
Yes.
After we went through this whole thing of legacy and bringing all the issues back to their original numbering, and we're not gonna do. We're gonna put events to bed for a while and focus on our characters and BS.
It's called marketing. You're Mr. Business Guy. You should know how this works.
Yeah, but you know what? Marvel's been doing this for the past decade and a half now,
and
it's not working. It's not working.
Number one,
they're
sell
losing
more
readers. All comics are losing readers, but Marvel's losing readers faster than most others.
Yes, they are. But
and they keep doing the same thing. We have Marvel Now, then we have Marvel Legacy, and now we have whatever Marvel this is going to be.
Marvel Now.
They always do. Yeah, exactly. They always do the same thing. They give out like a poster of like all the characters and whatnot.
Yes,
it's just.
Well,
like the editor in chief said, this is the most excited, the most line-wide refresh since Marvel Now. So since 3 years ago.
In comics time, that's longer than it's longer than you think it is. To be honest with you, yeah, I know where you're coming from. It is a little like they're speaking out of both sides of their mouth. Until they announce that like all the titles are going to get renumbered at #1, then I'll cry foul. At least in the case of this Avengers book, it is replacing all of the Avengers books. So there's not going to be 5 Avengers books anymore.
But
there's going to be
Avengers back to its original numbering.
And I hope it feels good. But there's going to be just the one now. I'm not defending it. I'm just explaining it.
No, I get it.
It's going to be the Avengers title. That's it. Dare I say Marvel might be going for a less is more approach? I doubt it, but maybe.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
The other thing is, yeah, we want Legacy and all that. Well, yeah, the renumbering, which flies in the face of Legacy, but prominently in that poster were Steve Rogers' Cap, Thor as we know him, and Iron Man proper. So goodbye Ironheart, goodbye Jane Foster, goodbye Falcon. Hey, comics fans, the good old days are back again. Everyone cried foul. All these loudmouth Twitter people cried foul when Marvel tried to do new stuff with their big guns. Well, now they're back. So put your money where your mouth is, Twitter followers, and there you go. You hated the girl as Thor. You hated the black guy as Cap. Well, here you go. They're back again.
I had no problem with
Marvel's giving you what you want. Yay.
Like, I had no problem with any of that, mainly because, like, for a couple of reasons. One, I thought what they were doing was interesting. Two, none of those characters are, like, my favorite character.
Sure.
Speaking of my favorite character, Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was front and center.
Great.
Yeah.
Dan Slott announced he's leaving Amazing Spider-Man to do an Iron Man title, which kind of sucks because he's been doing Spider-Man for 10 years and I've loved his run.
Okay.
But
so you're the one.
They've brought a lot of people have actually.
Have they? Okay.
I know I've always said in the past in comics everything's returned to the status quo.
Yep.
And in the past like couple months, Spider-Man has returned to status quo.
So the old Parker luck kicked in, huh?
Oh, did it?
No more company.
It like
he's
collapsed.
Poor again.
He's poor again. I'm like, it's not so much that we're back to status quo. It's from where he came from. To be back to status quo in that quick amount of time just feels rushed. It doesn't feel authentic. It just, at least he broke up with Mockingbird.
Yeah, that's weird. I think, you told me about that.
Yeah,
that's weird. Well, we'll see. That's all I got. We'll see. I don't know.
I mean, Daredevil, Iron Fist, Defenders. I'm reading all 3 of these series, and they're great. Spider-Man has been on decline the past couple months.
Have they decided on a new writer for Spider-Man yet?
I've not heard.
Okay.
The new writers. Beyond that, I mean, there's really nothing Most of what I'm reading now is DC. DC's killing it.
For now. They'll find a way to screw it up. They always do.
This is true.
How long until they decide, quick, crisis? It's like their big go-to move is to just crisis everything to death.
That's true.
So, Marvel's go-to move is the number ones. So I have no idea. It'll be okay. I'm reading Cap again. It's good. I'm still reading Thor. It's still good. It's Jason Aaron on Thor. It's still good. Still reading Daredevil. It's good.
So,
not reading any X-Men books, though.
No.
But I think that's
are
more...
you reading any X-Men books?
No,
You're
I'm
a big
not.
X-Men.
I am, but I've not read any X-Men books in. God, it's got to be 15 years now.
Wow.
Yes.
So my statement that you're a big X-Men fan
I am,
might
but
not be 100% accurate.
Apparently up to 1999. Yes.
Celebrates the back catalog.
after that, it just went downhill. I was like, oh,
know.
Jean Grey's back again. Oh, yay.
Well, that's now, yeah. But I mean, the Grant Morrison run was my jam.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But that has just been,
and most of the Whedon run, I'd say, was also very good. So,
yeah.
since then, but I also concede that a lot of that is kind of me as well, personally. I'm like I've said this before on the show. I think the X-Men are a franchise that really speaks to angsty youth. Your angst being however you want to define it, be it racial, be it sexual orientation, be it whatever. If you feel like an outsider, you will be attracted to the X-Men. When I was in high school and whatnot, I always felt like an outsider, especially in my school situation, and I was into heavy metal, and I was kind of the odd man out. So the X-Men spoke to me. Now that I'm a seemingly sort of well-adjusted normal person as an adult,
Avenger speaks to you more.
I'm a little more like, yeah, you know what, X-Men, your plight doesn't ring true with me anymore that I'm old.
A little more Reed Richards, a little less Gambit these days.
Kinda. I'm not, and you know, that makes me sound like a jerk. I'm sorry, but that's life changes and your tastes change over time. So
exactly.
But I don't think they've done themselves any favors over the years either. The stories have kind of been like, you know.
Yeah, it's like how many times? Like I said earlier, they brought back Jean Grey for the umpteenth time again.
I think
it's actually like the third or fourth.
Oh,
yeah.
It feels like
like more, but it's really not. Yeah. She has been dead. See, here's the thing. I don't know. I think they pulled some crap where they brought her back after Grant Morrison killed her, but I didn't read it, so I don't recall. It was like the Phoenix End song storyline. It was a couple years after that, but for all I know, she's been dead since. She has been dead since Magneto killed her in Grant Morrison's New X-Men 15 years ago. That's a pretty strong period of time for her to be gone.
Yeah.
Scott was with Emma maybe longer than he was with Jean.
Well, we had, young Jean.
Yeah.
Fast.
Yeah. See, now you're losing me.
That was the last time I was reading X-Men.
I read that.
Was when they did that.
It was.
I was like, okay, if you want to do this for like a year-long arc and then end it,
yeah,
that would work out really well. Because I think the idea was interesting. How does, if you came face to face with yourself from 15 years ago, how would you react to yourself?
Sure.
Really good idea there. But like everything Marvel does, hey, this is a good idea. Squeeze every last bit of life out of it. Hashtag Clone Saga.
You know what I think is I may the other thing with getting older, and I think sales might back this up to a degree. I don't know. Someone would have to do some math on this, but I think people are looking for more finality in stories. So monthly comics, as we know, there is no finality. They're going to keep on going, whether we like it or not. And I think public tastes have kind of changed over time, and we want limited stories. We want endings. We want closure. So, Marvel's going to keep bleeding stuff because they got to keep bleeding stuff because they got to keep that IP out there.
I mean,
I don't know.
I think there's something to be said of moving away from the trend of killing characters to just like removing characters for a story reason and whatnot. Like you can do, X-Men has always had a rotating roster. There's no reason you can't say, okay, we're going to kind of put Jean and Scott on the table for X amount of years. They're kind of go off and live their life, and at some point they'll be back. But we're gonna do that. But like, if you kill them, there's a quote unquote finality to that you have to work your way around
Finality.
when you want to bring them back.
Yeah.
Like even Scott's died a couple times.
He's dead now.
Mm-hmm.
Is he dead now?
He's dead.
Okay, who killed him?
The Phoenix Force killed him, right?
Yep.
Okay. Is Professor X still dead?
He just
No,
came back.
he came back.
Of course he came back.
He got better.
Yep.
It's
But he's not
complicated.
in his body, though.
Yeah.
He's in somebody else's body.
It's kind of like X-Men 3, Carl.
Oh, God, no.
That's exactly what it is,
No,
Alan.
I know, but God, I don't remember that.
Whose body is he in?
I don't know.
He's in some mutant's body. I forgot his name.
Some comatose body
Yeah.
that Moira McTarget had on a bed in Scotland. Just like X-Men 3.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
geez.
I don't know. But
Why,
yeah, he's
why
back.
would you? Oh, man. Like, sometimes there's...
Look, I'm just happy he's back, all right? Because last I checked, Rick Remender cut out his brain and put it into the Red Skull. Because that's a thing that happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, sometimes there's a death of a character that is done well. It's done out of the blue. There's no build-up to it. And when they bring that character back, it kind of feels right. Perfect example, Colossus. There was no build-up to Colossus's death. It just happened in a random issue of Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah, kind of.
And then they brought him back, and everyone was happy because it's Colossus.
Sure.
Gotta have him back.
Sure.
All right. We can go on and on about stupid freaking Marvel.
Comics, everybody.
Yeah. It's a bad relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really bad relationship that we keep coming back to because,
Yeah.
like, we remember when the relationship first started.
It's like
out.
WWE, man.
Oh, boy.
Same thing. We remember those good times, and we keep hoping they're coming back, but they really don't. Blips on the radar. Sometimes there's hope.
You just want to hear the glass shatter.
I just want to hear the glass shatter. That's right. That's why I want to come out, start whooping. Anyway. Anyway.
All right. Okay, so that brings to an end the case files. Unless is there anything else I can think of?
no,
Deadpool 2.
They're
We know
making it.
about Deadpool.
Well, you
Coming
didn't know
out.
who was in it.
Who is in it?
Deadpool?
Terry Crews.
Oh, Terry Crews in it. Okay.
He's
like-
GW Bridge.
Oh, okay. So they're doing like the 6-pack
Yep.
thing.
They're bringing back the six
Okay.
pack.
So they're
Everybody.
just- they're
Shatterstar's in it.
They're doing Rob Liefeld the movie.
Pretty much.
Oh, man. I'm not ready for this.
The Shatterstar gonna have like the weird face.
Yeah.
But in the
Yeah.
visual, you can see with the little helmet thing.
Is he gonna have the
Double blade sword.
Double
double
blade.
blade sword?
He should.
with the spikes on the knuckles.
If he doesn't, I'm gonna be very
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah, if he doesn't, it's not Shatterstar.
You
What
know,
was his power.
It doesn't matter.
He's just a good fighter
All right.
That's a power.
from the Mojo universe, you know.
You know, it'd be really awesome.
What?
If they want to be really clever about it, which I don't think anyone there would have thought of, but I would have because I'm like
You'd
this.
be surprised. I mean, you never saw the first Deadpool.
I would. I saw some of it on a plane. I chuckled a couple times. I would shoot the whole movie since we're going all in on Rob Liefeld.
Yeah.
90s stuff. I'd shoot the whole movie, and there would not be a single solitary shot of anyone's feet in the whole movie.
And sometimes just no background at all.
Yeah.
Just blank,
just cross hatching.
blank static.
Just cross hatching. Yep. And
Oh,
Cable's
man.
eye is going to change sides at least 4 times in the movie.
You could.
I think this is a good idea, to be honest with
All right, yeah. I'll go with it. I'll fly.
you.
I'll
All right.
pilot. All right.
This is gold. I'm giving you gold, Marvel. Fox, whoever.
That brings us to the end of the case files, and now on to the subject matter at hand, which is obviously we're not going to be talking about Punisher this week because we all went and saw Black Panther on Thursday night. So from this point out, if you have not seen Black Panther, there will be spoilers. Ye be warned.
You should go see it now.
Spoilers, starting now. Okay, so Black Panther. How do we want to approach this?
We just do?
Yeah, give us a,
Just
fire out your thoughts. Give us impressions. Go.
Okay. My snap judgment. Good movie. One of the good Marvel movies. They're all good. Marvel's worst movies are good. Okay? So you're never going to hear me complain much about a Marvel movie being bad because there is no such thing.
Yeah.
So it is one of the better
I gotta
ones.
watch Iron Man 3 this week, so we'll see how well.
I bet you'll like it more the second time around.
I have watched it a
Yeah.
second time, and it was better the second time around.
All right.
Well, it's been a couple of years. So
Okay.
We'll see.
No, it's one of the better ones. I'm not going to put it. I don't do rankings very well, but I do have a general vague. That one. Yeah. The Cap ones are always my top dogs, just because Cap, especially Winter Soldier. What an excellent movie that was.
Yeah.
Guardians might be up there. Anyway, without getting into that, Black Panther is one of the very good Marvel movies. And dare I say, it has a vibe of seriousness that's kind of refreshing for the Marvel movies because they've been, little jokey joke. They've been doubling down on the jokey joke for a while now. Black Panther does not do that. It's got moments of levity, but it's by and large pretty serious.
Yeah.
But I think as a movie, it did have some pacing issues, which I'll knock it some points for that. The rhinoceroses almost took me out of the film a bit. I was kind of like, okay, this is happening now. That's fine. There's some wonky physics happening with some of the technology, which okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have a moment where we can kind of have, if we have any problems with their nitpicks.
I'm gonna be a damp, not a wet blanket, but a damp blanket on that front.
Moist.
Those are the negatives.
Be a moist blanket.
Sure. However, the thing that there's two things that make it exceptional. One, give them the Oscar for best costuming right now, because nothing is going to top it. Nothing.
Yeah, they better win that.
You will not see a more amazingly designed, colorful, just vibrantly realized movie than Black Panther. It is stunning to look at. It is a joy to look at. Two, probably, dare I say, outside of a team-up movie like Guardians, the best ensemble of characters in a Marvel movie.
Yes, hands down. There's no other Marvel movie that comes close for pound, the amount of quality characters.
Dude,
in the film.
The heroes alone: T'Challa, Shuri, Okoye, and who is Nakia.
Nakia.
The four of them.
Don't forget Bilbo.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Everett Ross.
He felt tacked on, but whatever. We'll get to that in a minute. They were dynamite together. Yeah. All of them. And yeah, don't tell me Marvel can't make a female-led superhero movie, because three women in this movie are all excellent and have just as much presence and screen time as T'Challa does in this movie.
Yeah.
So, big ups. They are fantastic. And the supporting cast is great, too. Like, when he shows back up in the end, spoilers, M'Baku.
Yep.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
And his whole little thing there in the end, he like steals the movie when they're in his kingdom.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm singing the praises of the characters of that movie because they are excellent.
They fixed a very problematic comic character.
They made it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the comic it's a little,
the white ape man.
Right. But it works on film.
Yeah.
That's just his tribe, and that's how he chooses to dress, and he's serious as hell. And it's cool. And his throne room looks so cool.
Yeah, it really did.
I want logs hanging from my ceiling.
They were spears.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They were weapons.
Whatever.
Yeah.
They would look cool. It looked really cool. So, yeah, that's my snap Black Panther judgment, man.
Alan Waiters, go.
Was really, really well done. Like I said, the cast, it was the most perfectly cast of actors I've ever seen. From Angela Bassett, Forrest Whitaker. By the way, they fixed his eye.
Yeah, but they broke T'Challa's eye.
They fixed Forrest Whitaker's eye and doubled it for T'Chaka.
Marvel taketh away.
When you go to the afterlife, you don't need your eye to be fixed.
You would think in the afterlife that's where it is fixed.
Right. It's like if I lose an arm when I die, I hope I have the arm back. Anyway.
But yeah, I thought, everybody was great. And like I said, M'Baku, by the way, is a UB grad.
Oh.
Yeah, he's from Rochester.
Yeah, he's from Rochester.
How do you like that?
And so, local boy, it was good to see him, do well. And like I said, his character was really, really good. He had some funny moments.
Graduated. Anyway.
Yeah, but yeah. I was surprised when I read that this morning. I was like, oh, he graduated from UB, so that's pretty awesome. But yeah, the whole cast was just so good, and Michael B. Jordan, by the way, has to be in the top 2 best Marvel villains.
If Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler are involved in a film,
it's going to be good.
You don't even have to. You just have to tell me those 2 are involved. Between this and Creed, dang.
Like Michael B. Jordan, just like you could just feel the hate when it comes to like, ooh, like damn, he went through a lot of shit or a lot of stuff. Sorry.
Hey, now it's okay.
Sorry.
Family show.
Sorry,
you can be passionate. It's Black Panther. It's okay.
You've
seen it twice. You're excited.
3 times actually.
3 times. My God.
Well, yeah, it was just like you could see him, like you feel all his pain. You just feel it.
What I will say about him as a villain is like he's definitely one of the more complex Marvel villains because, like, from a certain point of view, man, he's not unjustified.
Right?
No,
that makes him compelling.
Yeah, he makes valid points.
Now the murder, let's blow up the world's government's angle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe not. Whoa, slow down, buddy.
I mean,
but the rest,
we've kind of had this discussion in group chats before about the air quotes, Marvel villain problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's necessarily a problem per se. I just think it's their weakest point. And Drew, something you said really kind of stuck with me once is that Marvel chooses to focus on and elevate their heroes,
right?
Whereas in DC films, you kind of see them choosing to focus on and elevate the villains,
right?
Especially in Batman.
Yeah. But this character, Killmonger, is just, I think he is the best Marvel screen villain that we've had yet.
He's up. You know what I like about him? You're probably right. I was going to say, like, I guess we can't say Loki because he's kind of anti-heroish now, so that's fair. You know who is really good and underrated, but I think he's really good for similar reasons that Killmonger is really good, is Zemo. And he's really good because he's got a personal stake.
Yeah.
And you feel it. Like, he's got an axe to grind, and he grinds. And by and large, he's not unjustified for where he got to and why he feels the way he feels.
And both characters exist out of consequence of the actions of the heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which I think gives a lot to a villain when you're able to do that. But Alan, you were saying.
Right. So this film, it kind of feels like almost like a Shakespeare tragedy.
Yeah.
Because the stuff with his father and the brother,
heavy.
And he comes back. And I was kind of like Lion King too. Kind of like, like Simba goes away, he comes back, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get my throne back.
Sure.
It kind of feels like that. Like I say, I almost feel like a Shakespeare tragedy. Like you're like, man, this is just so
very
good.
Hamlet-ish.
Yeah, very Hamlet. And you're like, this is really, really deep. And then Wakanda itself, you're just like, man, this is pretty freaking cool. I want to go to this place, even though it's secluded, and you're seeing all these, all the people are pretty much joyous and happy. And to see the 5 tribes, there's 5 different tribes that came together that form Wakanda. And you can see it reflects how Africa is. But there's so many different tribes, and you can see all those tribes in Wakanda. Even, M'Baku's tribe, the Jabari, up in the mountains.
Right.
They were the only one
they kind of reject technology a little bit.
Right, they're like, yeah, we don't need this technology. We're just going to go to the mountains. Everybody's like, oh, okay. Everybody else in Wakand's like, we'll just enjoy this technology. And to me, the other breakout star had to be Shuri.
Yeah, she was fun.
She was just very sassy, very smart. One of the things she goes, they had the things that mobilize the cars. He goes, they work and T'Challa goes, they work perfectly. He goes, just because they work perfectly doesn't mean you cannot improve them.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, she's really good.
She's ahead of the curve, man.
And at comic book accurate, she's one of the smartest beings in the Marvel universe after Reed Richards, Tony Stark, and then there's Shuri.
Just wait till she tags up with Tony Stark in one of these upcoming movies. They're going to invent like crazy stuff. I can't even imagine. Speaking of Shuri and the tech and all that, was I the only one that was getting the James Bond vibe when she was showing them the new toys and they go to a casino and stuff?
Yeah.
It's like a James Bond movie.
I was thinking about this. The whole film was not the structure of the film was not completely unlike a James Bond movie, because you have like your opening action scene, and then the return back to base, Visit with Q Branch.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of the beats of the film kind of followed the classic James Bond formula, which we're not saying is a bad thing.
No.
But yeah, you could definitely feel that in there.
That's pretty cool.
So, I mean, as far as my reactions to it, again, I thought it was fantastic. I'm very big on differentiating between personal preference and overall quality. Like, if I was to make a personal top 10 list of Marvel films, it would probably be like just outside the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Only because themes of other films speak to me more than this necessarily. But again, it's just outside. If I'm to make a list of Marvel films based on the quality of the film, this is easily in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's where, this is 10 years later. We're like, 18, 19 films in now, and
Mm-hmm.
we're still getting shown new things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a kind of a aesthetic thread throughout all the films to where you can tell it's a Marvel film, but it still has its own identity.
Mm-hmm.
This film, what I really enjoyed about it is that it was a self-contained Marvel film.
Big time.
It
Not a lot of
connective
tissue to the other ones.
It connects kind of to Civil War because it picks up right after Civil War.
Right.
But that's about where the connective tissue ends up until the last post-credit scene.
Right.
And even that's not like really huge. It's very self-contained.
And I think that's intentional.
Yeah, and that's what gave it a lot of its strength. It didn't worry, because then you see how well that worked out with Guardians, and that when we don't have to worry about connecting the dots to other aspects of the Marvel Universe, we can a lot of times tell a better story.
Sure.
Now, it's not saying that the films that connect the dots in the Marvel Universe don't tell good stories. It's just that sometimes it's good to have like these kind of standalone films. And especially now, having like gone back, Julie and I have come to the end of Phase 1, where everything was predominantly self-contained up until Avengers. Like Coulson and Fury were kind of the linking components throughout, but beyond that, everything was kind of self-contained, and it made for a good experience. And that's, I think, what contributed a lot to how great this film really was. But yeah, I totally agree with you, Drew, as far as like the design, the costume design, the production design, what Wakanda looked like. I was interested how they were going to explain Wakanda, and just the way they did it in the first 5 minutes of the movie, I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got all the back history we need for Wakanda. Let's go. The different tribes, the performances all around. Angela Bassett, she can still be Storm.
I would say the same thing.
She's almost 60 years old. She could still be Storm.
She should have been Storm. I mean, it was between her and Halle Berry, and Halle Berry was the hot commodity in the late 90s because she was hot. She had a couple good movies, but Angela Bassett, I'm just looking at her like, she should have been Storm.
They gave her the white hair.
They gave her the white hair.
I was like,
she can do it. She can still do it.
Still good.
I was like, you dropped the ball in that X-Men. You really did. Because I would have killed to see Angela Bassett as Storm. And she had the accent and everything. It was just like, why'd you drop the ball on that?
Unsung hero of the movie. Like, MVP for like the bench of the film. And this film has a deep bench. Andy Serkis.
Oh, I was going to
Yes.
say the same thing.
He was so good.
Andy Serkis's claw is just...
He was having fun in this flick, man.
He was just happy to be on screen and not in like a motion capture suit.
He made the most of his time.
This guy is such a talented actor and has not gotten, I think, a lot of the credit he deserves, because a lot of what he does is with motion capture, like Gollum and
Caesar.
Snoke.
Yep, Caesar.
He doesn't get the credit he deserves, but like he was allowed to kind of cut loose, do his thing in this, and it was just the way they used the character was so good. and just right.
Yeah.
Because like we were like in the end when we were coming out of theaters, because he dies at the
Spoilers.
He dies. Well, we already said spoilers.
Yeah, he
Killmonger
dies.
kills him.
Yeah.
And kind of uses him as a token to get into Wakanda. He dies, and we're talking coming out of the theater. Like initially, we were like, "Oh man, I kind of wish they saved." Then we're like, you don't really need the character beyond this.
No, he served his purpose, but he was fun.
He was very fun. Like I was kind of wondering, like in the trailers, I wasn't crazy about how the hand worked, but the hand was fine.
Mm-hmm.
In execution, I thought it was pretty cool.
I mean, when you look at what the character is in the comics, pink and purple trunks with a
weird
satellite
mask.
dish in his hand.
Yeah, they kind of updated him a bit.
Yeah. So yeah, he was fantastic. I thought Martin Freeman was good. And Alan, I know you were, Drew. I know it's not so much your thing, so you didn't care as much. But the whole interrogation scene.
Oh, I was thinking the same thing.
I was just like, oh man, we're getting Riddles in the Dark scene again. Gollum and Bilbo back together.
I was like, I hope Andy Serkis just slips a little bit back into Gollum.
Like you know, because they always give gag reels with the discs on this. There's got to be something about that in there. I mean, if there isn't, fine. But I just kind of hope. But
it was good to see them both, back together.
Yeah, it was.
The Tolkien white guys, by the way.
Yeah, that's like the best joke to come out of this. I'm trying to think of what else like I really liked about it.
We can just say everything was pretty much.
Yeah,
everything's pretty great in the movie. Like you're not going to come out of it saying like that stunk. No, you're nuts. Like they did a good job.
Here, nothing is perfect. I do have some very slight nitpicks. Very slight. And
like I said, I had pacing issues.
See,
and some dodgy CGI at times.
I mentioned this to you coming out. I don't feel that the pacing was bad. The pacing was just not what we expected it to be. This movie has a good pace to it. It just doesn't, like when you watch the trailers, a lot of what you see in the trailers, you're thinking, okay, that's like the climax of the film or whatnot. Well, it's actually like the midway point of the film. Because before you've seen the film, you're watching the trailers, you're thinking that fight between T'Challa and Killmonger when they're out of their suits is the ending of the film, is the climax of the film. Well, it's not. It's just like the halfway point of the film.
The thing is, in the movie, it felt like a climax too, though.
Yeah.
Like when they got into the waterfall and they're going to fight, I was like, oh, wow, this is like, it felt like the end. And then it goes for another 30 minutes.
And it's still, like, again, it's unexpected pacing, but I felt the pacing was good. Alan, what did you think of the pacing?
I thought the pacing was good too, and they, like I said, they build him up. It wasn't like right away, we didn't know what Killmonger's objective was right away, but then later on, when he comes back, you're like, oh, okay, I see how they built him up there, and like I said, it was very good. The pacing was a little bit slow, like I said, there's little nitpicky things, but other than that, I thought it was great.
Yeah, my two nitpicky things are there were times during the movie when the technology kind of took me out of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was so far advanced. Like I get that this is a very advanced culture that, we get to see what the possibility of an African culture without colonialism and slavery coming in can do, but it's just like it felt like it was, and this is kind of a problem that I have with a lot of Marvel Comics is that technology is so far advanced to what we have today. Like there were a lot of it was cool, but there were some times where it just kind of that was so fantastical that it kind of took me out of the film. That and there were some very green screeny moments.
Right.
Like especially in the waterfall scenes.
Yeah.
Like when they're looking up at the rocks and all the tribes on the rocks, looks fantastic. The second they're showing the character from the front and the background is over the falls and whatnot, little green screeny.
Yeah.
Little green screeny.
I mean, it's not Justice League bad, but
No. They use PS4 graphics.
Yes.
Justice League only use PS3 graphics.
Yeah. I think, like I said, some of the physics were. Look, we're talking about a film franchise, Marvel, where like Iron Man falls out of the sky from space and he's not mush in the suit.
Caught him.
So here, you know what I mean?
Like, he got caught.
So in this flick, we've got Black Panther and another nitpick, another Marvel movie where the hero fights a mirror version of himself at the end. But because Iron Man did that,
the first one
too, and you know, that's okay. We'll let it go for now. But they fall down that chasm.
Yeah.
They were already elevated, were they not? And then they fell down the chasm like 1,000 feet, and they like land on the ground. It's like, man, I know that suit is tough and it's got the tech in it, but you would be mush inside of it.
Well, they explain for T'Challa's suit. I'm not sure if Killmonger's suit works the same way. Yeah, but it kind of goes back to sometimes the tech.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
but it's again. It's a movie.
These are by no means even approaching deal breakers.
No,
these are just like, this film is great. You should definitely go see it.
You probably already have, based on the box office.
Yeah. Al, did you have anything you were kind of like, shenanigans?
No, I mean
shenanigans.
No, I mean, but for me as an African American, it was just great to see, pretty much a predominantly all black cast, a black director that portrays black people in Africa in a positive way. Never seen this. When I went to see it with my students last Friday, all their kids.
Because we're gonna have a whole separate discussion on that. But before we get to that, post credit scenes.
The first one could have been part of the movie, although I saw an interview with Ryan Coogler today.
I saw the same thing. He said he wanted the end of the film to be the kids.
Yeah,
right.
So
I'm like, all right, I'm fine.
Fair enough. So the first post credit scene, whatever.
This is like him to the UN.
Yeah,
say, hey.
But the funny thing is, they don't know what we know. So that was kind of the fun stinger of it all. Like, oh man, these UN types are like their minds blown. But then we get the end credit scene. Oh, hi, Bucky.
Bucky's defrosted,
and he's recovered, kinda. I don't think they would have thought him if they didn't think he was ready.
I think it looked like he was kind of, at least to me, in the process of recovering.
Yeah. He thanks Shuri for all the help.
Yeah.
So,
What'd you think of him, man?
I thought it was really good. Like I said, I think he's not all the way recovered, but I think Shuri helped him out to at least 75%. You know what I'm saying? He's not all the way, but I think he's close to enough where he's going to be good for Infinity War.
I think he's going to be a Wakandan spy going forward.
Possible romance there?
No, slow down. She's like what? 15?
She's like 15 years old.
Come on now. But it does beg a question.
Yes,
and I understand completely, and I would advocate. I will defend the decision not to include him. But if Bucky's there, thought out, where was Cap this whole time in this whole movie? Where's Cap? We know Cap's in Wakanda too.
He probably left after dropping Bucky off.
I guess
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, we didn't get any indication that Cap stayed.
He's kind of a fugitive. He's kind of on the run.
Yes, keyword being on the run, moving. He's Cap. He's not going to want to hang out and be inactive, doing nothing. He's going to want to be out there in the world with his secret Avengers and
fair enough.
Doing his
fair
thing.
enough. Just wondering.
So this is my thought, and going. I know I mentioned this to you, and you kind of agree with Drew, and you kind of agree with me. I think going forward, it's clear that Avengers: Infinity War is going to be a major change for the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it.
I think they've said as much.
Yeah, they've said it. There's clearly some characters are either going to leave, die, retire, what have you. I think going forward, I'm hoping the plan is that the next evolution of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is built around Black Panther. That T'Challa is the new kind of Tony Stark central figure link of the universe.
Given its box office performance, likely.
Yeah.
Very likely that plays out.
So yeah, I'm just thinking of got T'Challa. Who do you want to see if Cap goes away?
Yep.
Who do you want to see as Cap? Do you want to see Sam or do you want to see Bucky?
Selfishly, Bucky, just because it was handled so well in the comics, and I'm a sucker for the Ed Brubaker stuff. So, yeah, Bucky Cap would be my choice, and it feels like they've wanted to get there. Well, again, I'm projecting on that because that's how it happened in the comics. So to me, it feels like they want to get there, but they could just as easily. They've built up Sam Wilson just as much in the movies, as they have Bucky. So I could just as easily see Sam do it, but I would like Bucky to be the next Cap, just because of my comic familiarity. But either or is hey, go for it.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to do something. Maybe
just with a better suit than what he had in the comics. I wasn't crazy about the Bucky Cap suit.
I was okay with it.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I just it did the whole like shininess.
The shininess, I'll give you. Yeah, I didn't like the shininess. The rest of it, I thought was
just
okay.
Just like how
though.
it was like a V.
Yeah. Well, you had to differentiate from real Cap somehow.
I think if you kind of make it look a little more military, like kind of like Black Ops Cap, which is kind of what Bucky would be as Cap.
But that's kind of what Cap's been wearing, like his Civil War outfit or his Winter Soldier outfit's kind of
Yeah.
So anyway, without getting too deep into it, I could see that happening. And if you're thinking Black Panther is going to be the central figure of the new Avengers going forward, Bucky's already in Wakanda. He's already got ties. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So, kind of.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Alan, thoughts?
If I would definitely want to see more as if they go that route, definitely want to see Bucky as Cap more than Sam Wilson.
All right.
I think Bucky, like I said, I read the comic books too, and I think the Bucky Cap was better than the Sam Wilson Cap. But if there was going to be new Avengers, I don't think we'll be centered more around T'Challa. I think maybe more Doctor Strange.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I mean, I think Doctor Strange is going to play more of a prevalent role
than Black Panther.
I would think so. I mean, it depends where the storyline is going with,
Sure.
Because if they go with Illuminati, they may be.
They were both in the Illuminati.
That's true.
But I can't see that being the case with these flicks. Spoilers for those who don't read the comics. There is this idea of the Marvel Illuminati in the comics, and it's it's cute on paper. In execution, I'm a little mixed on it.
Reed Richards,
Professor X,
Strange, Professor X, T'Challa,
Tony Stark.
Was Tony Stark?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Namor.
Yeah.
And they were they were behind the scenes of a lot of nefarious deeds of the Marvel Universe in the name of the greater good and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's a little. I can't see that happening so much here in these movies. But then again, you never know.
Right.
See, I mean, personally, I don't think they've really positioned Strange to be like a leader type person. He's never really been that in the comics. So, I mean, it'd be interesting if they try, but I'd rather see T'Challa as calling the shots. So, all right. When this movie ended, I leaned over at Drew. I'm like, I said to him, like, this movie's going to be kind of hard to talk about. And he looked at me with the puzzled look that he's looking at me now, is because as far as the comic book aspect of this film, we can speak with relative expertise on the comic book structure of the film, what they use those from the comics, things like that. But it's become clear. It was clear before the movie came out. It's become so much more clear after that this movie is bigger than just a comic book film. I'm not talking about like box office wise and things like that. I'm talking culturally. And Alan, you allude to that, and that's kind of what we're going to get into now. I said to Drew, and this was just me, and I'm not sure if Drew felt this way. If he didn't, that's fine. But for me personally, I didn't feel qualified to speak on this film from a cultural standpoint, because I I'm just being honest. Listen, I'm a 40-year-old white guy. I've lived in the suburbs my entire life. I have never, ever experienced anything that can be even remotely in the ballpark of being considered oppression. You know, my life has been an embarrassment of riches and blessings that I do not deserve. God's been very good to me, and just, you know, I lucked out. So I felt it was important. I mean, I've heard there's some other podcasts I've listened to that have joked around about, hey, we're just a couple white guys talking about Black Panther. And you know what? If we couldn't get anyone here, I'm sure that we could talk about it again from comic book aspect. But given the cultural impact of this film, I felt it was important to have a voice here who could speak to that. And Alan, that's one of the reasons why we had you on the show. Like you mentioned, you are an African American. So I guess, I mean, you're an African American, you're a teacher. You started talking about earlier, and I mean, by all means, go on with your thoughts. But like, what does this movie mean? Not so much, I mean, obviously to you personally, but in the big picture, what does this movie mean?
In the big picture, this movie is going to be, you know, historic for generations, especially for African American children. They finally have a role model that looks like them. They can say, you know, yeah, I mean, yeah, they look up to Superman, you know, Spider-Man, and not talking about Miles Morales, talking about Peter Parker, Spider-Man. But to have an actual, you know, actual black superhero that represents the community. And, you know, like I said earlier, you know, this is the first movie that portrays Africa and black people in a positive way. We've never seen that before. We've seen all the different cultures, all the different tribes of Africa, not all of them, but a lot of them. And then people's like, oh, wow, this is pretty cool. Because back in the, you know, usually it's films that portray African Americans, it's either usually as pushers, on drugs, always angry. But this is the first one that's it's in a positive way. And it speaks to a lot of people in the community because, like I said, I went to see it 3 times. The first time with you guys, second time went with the school and the students, and I see all the kids that, you know, that look like me, and I was like, man, they're just like 15-year-old me. I finally get to see. I was like, I look in their eyes, I'm like, that's 15-year-old me right there. I'll be like them. There'll be tears in my eyes, and it was just such a great film. And you don't have to be black to enjoy it. This is for everybody. And there were certain quotes in the movie, especially Killmonger's quote, and the death scene, spoiler, and the death scene, where he goes, well, the child told him, we can fix you up. He goes, nah. So you can put me in bondage? He goes, nah, man, bury me in the ocean like my ancestors who jumped off the boats. He's talking about Amistad. Yeah. I don't know if you guys see Spielberg's Amistad. Yep. A lot of them jumped off the boats to rather be in bondage. And that was very, very deep for me.
I'm not gonna lie, that line kind of punched me in the gut.
Right.
Because, like, here I am, I'm having this great time, and I'm enjoying this Marvel film, and then he said that line, if I remember correctly, the line was, bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who jumped off the ship because they knew death was better than bondage.
Right.
And that just, like, is such a great line, but at the same time just, like, punched me in the gut because I'm seeing this world of what if Africa.
Right.
You know, what if there was never like slavery or the atrocities that were committed to Africa? What could they have become after that? And then, like I said, I'm a white guy. You know, we joke a lot about white guilt and things like that, but it's legitimate. I mean, like, if you have a heart, if you have a soul, and I think it's natural to feel those things. That line just kind of like dragged me back into the reality, and it was a gut check. It was a serious gut check. What, especially with the kids, because, like, you know, we've seen the memes, we've seen things like that. You know, first black superhero movie, and then, you know, you see like memes of like Blade or stuff like that.
Yeah, that's been going around. Like,
yeah, everybody's been saying
what
Blade.
about Blank Man? What about Meteor Man?
Yeah, right.
But I think like that's that misses. Am I wrong? But does that miss the point?
It does miss the point because
Black Panther to me, not to speak for you, Alan,
right.
but like every time I see those things, I get upset because it's like, you don't get it, dude.
Right.
Blade was a niche character.
Yeah.
And he doesn't represent, like, Blade's, yeah, is he black? Yes. But does he represent a continent of people? No. He's just a guy.
Right. It's also not for kids.
Oh, again,
exactly.
yes, exactly. R-rated movie. So the audience is inherently limited, right? Blank Man. It's a comedy. It's ancient, and it was played for laughs, and that's not going to garner much in the world. It's just not going to work that way. Meteor Man, comedy, great, but
I'll watch
again,
it anytime. Blank Man, I'm going to laugh every time Damon Wayne screams when he gets slapped because that's hysterical.
But like, what people like don't get, dude, is like, Black Panther, to me anyway, it's a big deal because it's the right movie, the right character at the right time, on the right stage. Marvel flicks are business, son, and they are business worldwide. And here's Marvel saying, like, hey, we've got this big stage. Here is this character who represents so much more, and we're putting them up there on the stage, and we're giving them presents, and this is for all of you. Right. And it's, again, PG-13. Kids can see it. Yeah. Kids know who the Avengers are. Here's this guy. He's an Avenger. And so much more. Like, that's why, to me anyway, that's why all that Blade stuff gets... Come on, man. You're missing the point.
Right.
But that's me, Alan.
No, you're definitely correct. I mean, this is the first one. Like, people can say, like I said, you can see all these little kids. That, like, this movie is going to have a profound impact on generations, especially for, little black and brown kids. They're like, oh man, I could be like Black Panther. Yeah. Like, if you're a black kid, like, I can't be Batman. Cape and cowl. So it's going to be a dead giveaway. But and like I said, Blank Man, like I went back Monday with my other friend. He goes, there was time I felt very uneasy, especially when it's like colonizers. It's like, I mean, you got to think about it this way. A lot of African Americans have felt very uneasy about, think about it this way. I'm African American. I don't know where exactly do my ancestors come from. I know somewhere in Africa, but I don't know where. Yeah. I mean, you got to think about this. Their history, their traditions are all gone when it came over here to, for slavery during the late 1600s, 1700s during the slave trade. We don't know. We don't, like, a lot of our traditions, a lot of the customs are gone. We don't know. I know where my father's, family's grew from. They're from South Carolina, but prior to South Carolina, I have no clue. Like, a lot of African Americans would tell you that. It was cool too because I saw a lot of churches bringing their congregations, bringing their kids. I read a lot of stories, like Titus from WWE. Yeah, bought 2,000 tickets to bring underprivileged children to go watch it. Lorenzo Alexander took some of the Buffalo Bill took some of the kids from South Park High School to go watch Black Panther with them. I read too that Chadwick Boseman, the guy who played T'Challa, he bought 3,000 tickets. He brought a lot of underprivileged children to go watch it, and he says it's just something deeply impactful. And I see a lot of people that seen it more than twice. They're like, I had to go again. I went with my church. I went with my friends. Yeah, it's just that big, and you see people dressed in traditional African garb. Some even dressed as the Wakandan women too from the movie. Yeah, I saw a little video,
cool, man.
Of little black girls. There was little black girls dressed up as the Wakanda women with spears and everything. Yeah, I was like, that's another thing we've missed the point on is just the impact of strong African American women.
Like I said, dude,
Denai Guerra.
The core of the movie is 3 women and T'Challa. Yeah, and they're all great.
It's just remarkable, and like I said, I think this movie is going to go down in history as it's going to be impactful for generations.
It feels big.
I mean, I see like the pictures from premieres and from people just going to the theaters and it gives my heart such joy that this is out there and that audience can be reached and be shown something that is unlike anything they've ever seen. Because like even modern films about Africa are never overall positive depictions. Either about like genocide or, warmongers and like
Rough stuff.
Yeah. The harsh realities of what modern day Africa can be. Just getting to see this, I mean, I'm happy for the adults who get to experience this. I'm happier for the kids.
Yeah.
I'm happier that they get that. They get their Superman for the first time. And that people who just are realizing the importance of this and just doing anything they can to get as many young, impressionable eyes on this film as they can. Because again, it's not the first positive black role model in genre films, superhero films, but it's the first one that's really immediately accessible to kids.
Right.
Like you even could say, Luke Cage, very positive black character in genre, but series
can't let kids watch that.
Definitely not for kids.
Kids can't have coffee.
What? Like it's been almost a week now since the movie was out. How have the kids? Have you noticed like a change in the kids since seeing the film? I mean, I know it's like. I mean, again, it might be too early, but I'm eager to see what the effect is.
I mean, it's just, they're just happy to see some of that that they can say, oh, that there's somebody that looks like me and who's also an awesome hero. And I read a quote from Stan Lee when he and Jack Kirby made the character. And he said, I just don't want him to be a regular black guy. He goes, I want him to be a king. I want him to be very positive. Because at the time, when they made the character, it was during the civil rights movement.
Right.
Yeah.
So he said that was one of the focal points of why he made, T'Challa a regal king who had a prosperous country and was kind of isolated. And there was also a lot of political themes. I don't know if you caught on to those, but I caught on to a lot of the little political themes that's affecting us right now. Like secure the borders.
Oh, sure.
That was mentioned on there.
Isolationism. Reaching out. Yeah. It's not subtle, man, but at the same time, it kind of is. But
I think one of the most deepest things was in the beginning when they showed Sterling K. Brown, who was in This Is Us, and he played, T'Chaka's brother,
right?
And he had the agent over there who was James, who it turns out to be Forrest Whitaker's character later on. He was stealing vibranium so he can make weapons to give it to impoverished people. And he says, "Brother, you don't understand. Our people are being oppressed here." They said they need this technology to defend themselves. And T'Chaka says, no, we can't give this technology to them because you don't know what's going to happen. It could get worse. It could cause uprising. And that's why, spoilers, he killed his brother.
And that brings back to like what we were talking about with Killmonger earlier about making points that, you're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Right.
And that makes for a compelling character. So there's only really one question I have left.
Mm-hmm.
Can we make it so Marvel has all the money?
Yeah.
And all the power.
Right.
And all the women. Anyway, no.
First you get the shit.
Can Marvel make it such that Wakanda's border nation is Zamunda? Because I've seen some amazing things on the internet.
Yeah.
With Coming to America cosplay at screenings of Black Panther. I saw the recut trailer on Funny or Die where they made Eddie Murphy the Black Panther.
Yep.
I need this to be real. I love it so much.
We're getting Coming to America Funko Pops.
Right. Oh my God, they're awesome. Yeah. I love it.
I'm surprised they didn't ask Eddie Murphy to be in this movie.
Yeah, what's he doing anyway?
Yeah, I guess Samuel Jackson is not happy that he was not in this movie.
Yeah, I read about that too.
Which I get.
Well, you're Nick Fury.
I get.
Yeah.
But again, going back and where we're talking about like what makes the movie great is that it's not necessarily directly connected.
And that's what I was getting at with my Cap point, where I was going to say I defend his decision not to include him in any way because it was important for that movie to put T'Challa at the forefront.
Yeah.
This is his movie. This is Black Panther. He is not going to be playing second fiddle to anyone you know. This is his movie. This is this cast's movie, no one else's. And they stuck to it, and I'm sorry, Sam, but, we had it. I think they knew what they had to do with the flick, and they did it.
Yep.
And it's better for it.
So now I believe Coogler has been confirmed for 2.
Yes.
Has he? I think Feige said he will.
I think he will.
He wants him back, but he's not signed to be back yet.
Yeah, I think
he will be back, in my opinion.
I would be very surprised if he did not come back.
It's amazing how convincing a dump truck full of money can be.
You know what? I don't even think with everything this film has done, I mean, obviously he's going to get a pay bump, but I don't think, I don't think money's the motivating factor.
No. Yeah. But it helps.
Yeah, no, it's funny because like you look at this movie and like you think back to it does the heart good to know that in all likelihood Ryan Coogler will be involved in the second one for this, as opposed to like the second Creed film currently being made, which Sylvester Stallone is kind of taking over. And
we're gonna fight Drago's kid.
Terrible. So
anyway,
any closing thoughts, gentlemen? Related, unrelated, what have you?
Gotta be impressed though that this film has generated so much money. Think about it this way: it doubled what Justice League did in 4 days.
Yeah, that's
in
cool
4 days.
But
yeah,
is this not really the highest bar to?
It's a low bar to clear.
It's
but
kind of throwing a little salt in the DC wound there.
It sure does.
Sorry, DC fan.
Twist the knife a little bit.
Yeah.
Nah, it's cool. I'm glad it did well. We had a feeling it was going to do well. As soon as we saw that trailer, man, I was so psyched because just look. Again, like I said before, the movie sells itself. It's a feast of the eyes.
It was clear. I mean, obviously, with a Marvel film is a safe bet.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be good until they show us otherwise. Like you said, Drew, even their weaker films are still
good.
Still good. I don't like. I think we had all hoped it was going to be what it has actually become, but I don't think any of us actually believed it was going to be what it has become. And that's just been the greatest, just to see the impact, the social impact that this film is having.
That impact can't be duplicated, obviously, so that's unique to Black Panther, and I'm thrilled for it. But I'm like, in terms of the money, just strictly speaking like that, man, even Thor Ragnarok made bank. So I'm at the point now where like Marvel is just gonna they can put out anything, and it's gonna kill at the box office on opening weekend.
Yeah, I think
they have so much cachet. It's
well, for films like this, even bad ones
insane.
Make money.
I know, but
like,
it's just
Transformer films still make money.
They do. I know.
Thanks, China.
Yeah, right. Anyway.
Fair point.
Yeah, it's good. Spoilers. It's good.
Spoilers good. Definitely go see it. And we would love to hear what you thought of it, or if you have any questions or comments to send us here at the show, you can do so at the following locations. You can find us on Twitter at Devils Do Pod. You can go to facebook.com/devilsdupod. You can email us at thedevilsdupod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdupodcast.com. Believe that about wraps it up for us. Alan, thank you so much for coming, sir. It's always great to hear from you in email, but it's even better to have you here on the show.
I'll have my email ready for you guys next week.
Okay. Drew, any closing thoughts?
I think I speak for everyone when I say Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever.